Hello, hope you're all well. I have another character for you here. This is the Colourful Boy character that I'm going to release to my patrons to have a look, play with, mess about, hate, love, whatever. I'm going to talk you through all the things he can and can't do and, see where we are. As you can see, I'm trying to do this thing of putting little pros and cons on each character because I just find that useful for you and for me. If something's going wrong, that's probably, because I haven't fixed it or I just can't be bothered or whatever it might be, because whatever. As I've done with all these characters, I've got a button that shows and hides controls like that. And I've got another one that shows and hides the controls for his sort of stomach and sort of body area like that. So let's start with just nothing visible. So you can always move the arms and the legs around independently if you want to, but pretty much everything else, the eyes do this kind of thing on this character. They don't blink automatically, they just do that. And as you know, all the bits and pieces you can move around as usual like that. Now, if I show all the controls, this donut moves the whole head independently of the body. These blue dots represent the entire limb, so I can move the entire limb around if I want to. And these little blue sort of squares represent his sleeves, so I can make the sleeve sort of tuck and turn and do all sorts of things like that quite easily like that, which is kind of nice. If I turn this on, you get a preview of the line that surrounds the hand there. I'll go into the hands in a bit more detail in a little bit. The little blue dot just is able to move the hand around so independently of the arm. This blue dot allows that kind of movement to occur, and you can actually go in there and change and fiddle around with the actual stripe if you want to, but this just changed the curvature. The triangle here moves the top part, the triangle here moves the bottom part of him, and here is where things get a little bit more fiddly and a bit annoying, if I'm truth be told, because I don't think the legs are very well rigged in this character. You can move the pelvis around any way you like. That's not really rigged in any clever way. Actually, I'll go into the legs in a minute. Let's just cover all of these first. So you've got the pink squares here that handle blinking and that sort of stuff. You can just move the eyes around like that. The blue dot moves the entire eye around for each character with no movement at all. As I said before, that squishes the eye. And then this red dot squishes the entire head as well. These two sort of diamonds can squish the face around a little bit. Now, I would say it's got some nice things going on for it, but I would probably, if I was doing this sensibly, I probably would have put a little bit more time and energy into rigging this head, because as you can see, there's some artifacting going on there and stuff. There were some nice ideas, but some of it doesn't really work. I think it probably, there's stuff that needed to happen and probably quite easy to fix. I think it's probably more to do with that shape there just needing to be removed because the cheek underneath it does that job, things like that. If we have a look at the whole mouth, I have to go here to do that and here to have a look. This is the entirety of the whole mouth, as you can see, and I've got that as the overlay layer, that as the colour, that as the that's the overlay, that is the line, that's the colour, and that's the underlay. And I think that would probably have been better designed had I done something more along the lines of, if I can try and sort of do that kind of thing where I keep that shape going. So it's not a difficult thing to fix actually, but I just, it didn't really come up in what I was designing. So it was left, it didn't really matter. But as you can see here, it gets in the way when he's doing a really extreme smile. So it's just something to sort of bear in mind. And if you want to, you can sort of fiddle around with that and change it if you want. Let's have a look here. So this red circle with a black outline around it is his master controller. So that just moves his head around and does all that sort of malarkey as you're used to. And his hair is pretty basic. I mean, it's not very, I wouldn't say it's very well rigged at all. It doesn't even have any deformers in it. So, and look, the cutoff points are all ghastly. It didn't matter for what I was doing, but it's something to bear in mind. If you wanted to fix it and change it and make it your own, feel free. You know, it wasn't something that was a high priority for me to sort out. So, you know, that's the reason why I didn't. And he also has, if I go over to this view again, substitutions, he has two facial expressions. So he has that one there and that one there, which, because of the nature of these squishy things, can be altered a little bit. So, and you can go in and sort of fiddle around and stuff. So there's you know, there's an element of change here if you wish, but you know, he's not the best designed character, but there are some quite nice things in him which other characters haven't had, like the sleeves, like the hands, whatever. Now I'll go into the detail with the hands. These are just drawings, they're not rigged in any way, but what I've done is I've designed them using the noodle technique, which is in my book line. And if I can just find it, everything is on one line. Actually, it's not using the noodle technique in the obvious way. This is it is using the noodle technique, but rather than have the entire line going around it, I've just sort of offset and pulled a black line that's literally sitting underneath this pink one. If you look at it like this, you can see that there's a shape there going along like that, and then each finger is essentially a line with a black line exactly in the same place underneath it. And the only thing that makes it sort of pop out, if we look here, is using the pencil editor tool. You can see that the black line actually has these little slivers to make them pop out and pop in. And the way you make the fingers go backwards or in front of the main shape is you select the finger like that, and then you say arrange and send to back or whatever it might be. Whoops. Let's do that. Not quite so bad. It'd be more obvious on this one. So if I say arrange, send backwards, you see it did that there, and now this finger should be able to go in front of it, which it does. There's a little black there, so in order for that to come forward, you have to say bring forward a bit, and then maybe another one, bring forward, another one, bring forward. I know it'll get there eventually. Where are we? Arrange, bring forward. Oh no, I'm doing centre back. Bring forward, bring forward, bring forward. It'll get there eventually. There we go. So there's a lot of fiddling around. What you could do is assign a hotkey to those forward and back things, and then it would be a lot easier for you to sort of arrange fingers in the correct order that you want. But it's a way of getting things backwards and forwards using just one drawing, which is a little bit more helpful when dealing with drawings. I don't know. I'm still always thinking about how to do fingers better, and I think if I follow this train of thought, maybe with multiple drawings rather than just one, I think I'm going to come up with something that really is quite good. I mean, it does allow quite a lot of manipulation, you see, very easily. But you always have that sort of issue where things sort of don't join up correctly and stuff like that. So it's always a little bit of an issue, and you're having to constantly correct things. So it's a work in progress, like so many things. And fingers are fiddly things. They are just, doesn't matter who does it or what program, whatever it is. This is the reason why AI finds them difficult, because they are difficult. There we go. So you could do something like that. And then you've built up this little bank of different positions. That was the one thing I really liked about keeping all of these on one drawing, was that you can, at a glance, see the hand and select it. Even if you had several drawings linked together and synced together, you would only see the finger, you wouldn't see the whole hand. So that was the thing I liked about this, is that you could at a glance see, oh, that's one with finger in this position, that's the one with this, which you kind of want when you're working with a lot of hand positions. So it's not bad. Now, the way you get the outline for this, as you noticed, if I press let me just get that. There we go. Is that. And this works. Let me go over to the other screen. Let me just select that. Let me go here and do that. There's all this stuff going on here, but what it actually does is takes the fill, figures out takes the skin color and changes it into black to make the outline, and then it resizes that black bigger to make the outline. So it's an even outline all the way through. You could, if you wanted to, change the outline to make it thinner, like that, as I've done there. 1 to make it really thin. 3 was what I had it on previously, but you might want 2. But that's how I did it, and it actually renders pretty well, and it looks nice. So that was the way I got round some of the issues that I was having, where I wanted an outline, but I also wanted this line to kind of do a certain thing. You know what I mean? These lines are dividing lines, and that is the overall line. And by separating the line job in that way, it was actually easier for me to create the whole hand. So that is a line of thought I am going to pursue in future handwork, because it does actually mean that you can get some quite elaborate hands quite nicely. The only downside about doing it this way, of course, is that the outline that you get is always going to be even. There's going to be no variation at all, unless I were to do something clever in some other area. So there are ways around it. By the way, this blurring you don't get because we're at 200%. That's the reason. If I was at 100%, it's sharp. This is because we're getting only a render preview of this, whereas the rest of it is OpenGL. If I were to render the whole thing, ignoring all this, you would get a perfect line all the way around. By the way, that is also another little glitch. Something I was mindful of when I was working on this puppet. If I move this stuff in an extreme way, then you get that hole. But if I do it like that, then you don't. So this also affects that kind of thing. And if it's pushed too far, it ends up going beyond its boundaries and doing all sorts of weird crap. So if you just do that and be mindful of it, then you get a nice sleeve and it's fine. Same on the other side. If you just do that. Again, this is something that I'm working on. Again, some of this it does not show up on the final render. Some of it is just sort of, weird artifacting that you get on the sort of super render, and then when you actually render it out, it's fine. So just keep, if you're interested, mindful of those kind of things. Now, the legs, which I absolutely hate, are here. And let me just go over to the other view. I need to sort of change that anyway. Boop, 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 boop. Let's go over here. Let's go over there. There we go. I'm trying this new idea of having multiple monitors that I swish from backwards and forwards, and I like it, but there are just a few things that I haven't yet set up correctly. Anyway, this is the current setup of the leg, and the idea was that the leg short would move with the leg, and it largely works, but then when you get this in a different position, you have to then adjust it there and stuff. So there are things wrong with it. It's an old piece of technology and that I designed, and I've actually thought of much better ways of doing it subsequently. Nevertheless, it's not bad. At least you can sort of do that without too much effort, moving your leg around and the short follows. So it's not awful. It's just a little bit annoying considering other things that I've designed subsequently that are much better. So there you go. Other than that, I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else here. Let me just turn... Oh, actually, I'll just turn it off like that. There we go, yeah. I'll turn that off as well. There we are. So, yeah, he's not bad. He's actually surprisingly fun to animate because you can get a lot of poses that aren't bad at all very quickly. The other thing is as well his top. So this has something called a scale deformer on it that allows you to sort of fiddle around with this kind of thing, as well as the main deformer through his core. Now the only downside to this is that sometimes if he was bending down like that, you would want more of this to happen with his shirt. And this doesn't really account for that. There's there's nothing in this design that allows for that to happen except for drawing substitutions. So one way that you could get around it is to get that, go into the drawing, and to actually pull the drawing down in some way. But other than that, this is the node view. What am I looking here? So yeah, so if you were to sort of get hold of the drawing, whoops, not in that direction, but pull it down that way and have several drawing subs like that, then you could get around it. You could do something with weighted deformers and fiddle around with it that way and have the best of both worlds, but A, I don't think these would work, and B, it would overcomplicate it and you'd have to set up even more rigging. And for what I was doing, this was perfectly fine. So that's the thing, the more stuff you put in sometimes, the more fiddly it becomes. So it's a trade-off. Do you want complexity with total control, or do you want ease of use with occasional moments where you have to kind of fudge it? You know, it's as basic as that, really. So, yeah, he's not bad. He's a lot of fun to manipulate, and I got some quite nice pieces of animation out of him. Surprisingly, I was surprised because I thought he was going to be a nightmare, and he wasn't. And there were some nice little ideas. So, hope you enjoy him on this gorgeous Sunday afternoon, and I'll look forward to sharing other more fun puppets like, well, the dog's not bad. Well, the dog has some issues, but don't they all? I think the best one, not that I've animated with him yet, is the owl, but we'll see. But yeah, there's lots of different ones coming up. They're all very, very different, so they're fun to muck about with anyway. Hope you're well. In other news, I've got some big things that are going to come on my website fairly soon that I'm selling. So I'm going to make a big fuss about that when it's finally online. But I hate web design, but I do want these good results that look nice and, you know, inspire and look good. So that's the reason it takes the time. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok or whatever it might be that I post all this stuff on. Anyway, good luck, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.